want to turn to the other big news of the week, which is obviously, as we were talking before, the disaster we've seen in Cairns. And I mean, you've both heard the update there from Rhiannon Elston. The Bureau of Meteorology has come under fire again. They've been accused of issuing inaccurate and incomplete warnings. They've admitted that they knew of the incoming rain hours before they warned residents. And this has happened before, Matt. I mean, the floods up in Lismore and Forbes come to mind. The bomb was accused then of not giving proper warnings. I mean, this is life and death stuff, and even if it's not life and death, you're talking about, you know, people are losing their homes, they're losing their assets in the week before Christmas. Surely we can do better than this.
Well, I think, you know, the failure here is to not properly alert people, Caleb, about what the possibilities are. I mean, you know, we can't expect the Weather Bureau to be Nostradamus and tell us exactly how much rain there's going to be in exactly one spot at exactly one time. But I think they should be telling us, well, there's a potential, you know, that there could be this much. And if there is this much, you need to take these precautions because there's going to be carnage. And I think that's where the failure was here. You know, the Weather Bureau, you know, had, as he was saying, for several hours, knew that there was the potential for there to be this sort of impact, and yet those warnings, didn't come, and that's why I think they're feeling the wrath of many people in far north Queensland at the moment.
And deservedly so, I think. I mean, you know, if they knew hours beforehand and they were briefing emergency services, etc., at the time, why couldn't they have briefed residents?
Yeah, you would think so. Just to play devil's advocate, I suppose I would also suggest that, firstly, I think we live in a society at the moment where we're so used to everything being risk-free and for everything to be ameliorated and for everything to be that we sometimes forget that there are some things that are completely beyond our control and that nature can be fierce.
But if the bomb says they knew something,
and then the other, but they knew it was the potential for something. So again, this is very much just playing devil's advocate. Obviously, if they knew, people should have been alerted to the worst case scenario. But again, you then sort of ask the question, well, do they have to then warn people of every single possible worst-case scenario in every single possible weather event? Does that then cause unnecessary panic? Does that mean that people end up, you know, leaving their homes when they don't have to, throwing their lives into chaos when there is only, you know, again, where do we draw the line? A 10% chance, a 20% chance? So I suppose I'm sort of instinctively reluctant to join pylons, but clearly it could have been done better. And
yeah, I don't doubt. Speaking of things that could have been done better, I mean, who would have thought? The SBS has finally apologised to Warren Mundine over that heated debate with Marsha Langton on the night of the Voice referendum. If you've forgotten, this is how it went down.
Fixing the problems that we have in Aboriginal
just going to interrupt you there because
I'm not going to sit here and cop lies from people.
Well, we're not going to sit here and take you abusing a national treasure like Marcia Langton, who never said that Australians were racist.
And you must accept.
And her words were twisted. I'm going to stop you there, Warren.
People make the decisions.
I think, well, we've just seen who Warren Mundine is.
Yes, that's right.
I mean, the SBS stalled apologising to Warren. Finally, they've conceded they were wrong. But, of course, you know, Warren was of the no camp. It couldn't be a simple, straightforward, you know, sorry, we were wrong. You know, now they're pleading confusion. Matt, I mean, you know, you're a public broadcaster. You're covering the Voice to Parliament. You'd think you could have a little more even-handedness than to just have a dig at... Even if you disagree with Warren, you're working on SBS, you're giving coverage of a news event, you don't go, oh, we've just seen who Warren Mundine really is.
Well, I think it points to the problem that really plagued the Yes campaign and its supporters in the media, you know, right throughout this. You know, I go back to, Joe was talking about the lunch that we were at in Darwin. Well, I was talking to him at that lunch as well about where the Yes campaign was going wrong, knowing that he's a strong supporter and was a strong supporter of the Voice to Parliament, you know. And there were many good reasons to potentially support the Voice. The problem the Yes campaign had was exactly that. They wanted to paint everyone who was a Yes supporter as a saint, and everyone who had concerns about the the Voice to Parliament proposal, you know, as some kind of heathen who shouldn't be listened to, who needed to be shut down. And there you have it, you know, and there's no better display of it than that. Here's Marcia Langton, and I've got a lot of respect for her. You know, she's being called a national treasure, and Warren Mundine's being told to shut up. You know, like, it's just...
I know. It's exactly what it was like. They could not have made it any more obvious, could they?
That's right. But and this is the problem, though. And Matty is absolutely right. And we were in furious agreement over our frustrations as we chatted. But it is a failure not just of the Voice, but it is a failure by people on the side of progressive politics to actually acknowledge that they are on a side and not just the holders of the God's own sworn, well, they don't believe in God, but that they are not simply right and that everyone else is wrong. Yeah. That you can actually have a debate about something where people disagree and both those sides are equally valid, and especially if you're in a news broadcast, you have to air them. What instead we saw, and Nerelda's very, very lovely, and I have no doubt that she was not being cynical, but that she genuinely sort of believes this, but that you simply think, well, hang on a minute, you know, Marcia Langton is a national treasure, and therefore anyone who is critical of her must therefore be a bad person, and hence, you know, we've seen who Warren Mundine really is, rather than saying, well, here are two people who disagree with each other. And you see it reflected in other debates where they say, oh, well, no, we support free speech, but we just don't tolerate hate speech. Well, what's hate speech? Well, it's anything you say that we disagree with. So there's this confusion between, you know, black and white, if you like, instead of actually...
I mean, it's this tendency to sort of make it, if you believe you are right, then you have the moral high ground and you're basically...
Like progressive views are lawful and allowed and legal, and any account of that are hate speech and therefore illegal. That's right.
Jo Hildebrand, Matt Cunningham, thank you so much for your time.